Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay. Today we're doing a highly requested video. We're doing a full face of Cover FX. I did a poll over on the community tab of what brand you'd love to see me do a full face of, and Cover FX was in the top 3. Thank you to all of you who voted. It's still open if you guys want to vote on the other brand. But anyway, let's get into this full face of Cover FX along with the wear test. Before we get started, I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. We're almost at 10K, so I'd love for you to help me get there. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful at any point. I hope that you do, but let's get started. I'm going to start with the Bite Beauty Changemaker. This is the hydrating version of their primer, just because I wanted to try it out and I don't have any of the primers from Cover FX. I did try the mattifying one when I reviewed the foundation. If you guys haven't seen that, I will link it. Whoa, this one's definitely more liquidy. That looks a little crazy. Super lotiony texture. Doesn't really smell like anything, which is nice. And I wanted to use this one because the foundation I'm trying is very mattifying, so I wanted to make sure my skin's balanced before we do that. Next, I have two foundation products. I really like how the primer feels. It's not really tacky. It's sunk in really nicely. But I have the Power Play foundation. I have the shade N35. And I also have the custom cover drops in N Fair 2. I'm only going to do one drop of this just because this is like my self-tan shade right now, and this would be more of like my natural skin tone, but I did just want to like mix these two and show you guys how they apply together. I have tried both of these for a while now. This, I find it can get very cakey looking if you use too much of it, so you kind of have to be careful what foundation you pair it with. But I'm gonna go ahead and mix these two up. Now this foundation, the Power Play, dries so quickly, so you really have to work in sections or else it'll be a little bit streaky. So I'm going to start with just that much. I'm gonna use a sponge and then just really quickly blend it out. And I feel like the sponge really does help with the spreadability of an application of this because it does dry so fast. It just gives it a little bit more wetness so you can have a little bit more time. As you can see with just that little amount, I don't really think it's full coverage. It's more of like a medium coverage even with the cover drop. But let me do the other cheek. Try to use a brush on this side. See how it coverage differs. I do like the coverage a lot better with the brush. You just get a lot more out of it, but you do have to work even quicker with this. Do the forehead. Okay, so here is what the layer of the foundation looks like. Although this is a matte finish, I feel like it sits very comfortably on the skin. It honestly is a very lightweight foundation. I really don't feel it on the skin, and I don't think it accentuates dryness too bad. I don't really have a ton of dryness right now, but I did have some around my nose and just my acne scarring. It looks pretty nice. Just that one thing, it dries super fast, so you do have to work quickly with it. Now for our concealer, you guys see me use this concealer all the time. All the time. It's the Cover FX Power Play. This is like my favorite concealer. I love how it performs. It's that perfect medium fuller coverage, but it's not cakey. It feels really thin. It doesn't crease on me. I think it's beautiful for under the eyes and all over the face. I just really love the formula of this. I also picked up the white one. It's really cool that they have this because if I am more fair, I can mix this in, or if I just want a little bit more highlighting, I think this is a really cool product. But since I am not my super fair tone, I got a little bit of self-tan on, I'm just going to use my N-Light one. So I just like to focus this where I have most of the darkness, like right under here. Under where? Under here. And I'm going in with my sponge to blend this out. I really love this concealer because I find that it works with a lot of different foundations and powders. I think it just looks beautiful with almost everything I pair it with. And if you guys haven't tried this and you need a good concealer, I would totally recommend this one. Before I set that, I'm just taking it on my face where I feel like I need more coverage, just to spot conceal. Alright, so I really love how the base looks so far. I think just those combination of products, I love how they all work well together. As a brand, I love to see the products actually work together because, you know, it's a line of products. They should work together, and I think they do work together really beautifully. I absolutely love that concealer. Next, to set everything, I have the Cover FX. This is their perfect setting powder. I have tried this before a long time ago, so I kind of forgot what I thought of it. And this is the newest product to me. I have the shade Translucent Light. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. The rest of the products I really have tested for a while, so I know my opinion on them, but this one the verdict is still out on this. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it, like barely noticeable. It just doesn't look like a flat matte, although they do have a matte setting powder, but this one I feel like is more, it's highly reviewed. So I'm just gonna start with a little bit of that and make sure there's no creases Although I find this concealer like doesn't even crease very quickly. I'm gonna start with a tiny bit because it does have that sheen to it. I feel like I've noticed if you use too much, it can look a little bit cakey. So I'm gonna try a tiny amount today. So I think that looks so pretty. I love how it doesn't take the coverage away. I feel like it has the tiniest bit of a tint to it. They do have a light and a deep shade, although it is mostly translucent. It's just not that super like, you know how like a silica powder is really translucent? It just has a little bit of a tint to it. This is talc free, by the way. All the CoverFX products are talc free, which is really cool. It's not like a new thing they've done. It's been something they've done for a while now, which I think is nice. It does make all of their products like super smooth. I do really love the packaging of this as well. It has a sifter that you can close so it's not messy if you need to travel with it. And you do get a lot of product in here. You get 10 grams, 0.35 ounces. So I'm just taking a tiny amount of that setting powder and using it to set the rest of my face. Although I feel like you really don't need to set this foundation because it is matte. But I like to just so powders blend easier on top of it. They do have textured skin. I feel like if I don't put a powder down, it just really clings to that. I put a little extra on my forehead because I do get super oily there. So far, I really do love the finish of this powder. I actually think it looks really nice. It might have just been what I was testing it with that it looked a little bit cakey. I would say if you're going to use it under the eyes, that less is more. It's just so stunning for all over the face because it's not a flat matte, but it also doesn't have visible shimmer. So it's sort of that like in between, really natural finish powder. I really need to bronze up this face. So I have the CoverFX Monochromatic Bronze Duo. This was one of their new launches in the summer. They were sold out for such a long time. I think they're still sold out on Sephora, but on Ulta is where I grabbed mine. This is the lighter shade. You do get a matte shade. And then this shimmer, I think this is like such a cool bronzer concept because you can mix them, you can use one or the other. And I just think it's so beautifully packaged. You get a nice mirror, very unique looking product. These are super pigmented. I've gone overboard with this so many times, so you really have to be light-handed. I'm going to just mix the two on my brush, really make sure that most of the product is sort of off. Then I'm going to bronze my face up. I enjoy the tone of this. I think it's a nice warmer bronzer, but on my skin it doesn't pull orangey. I think this blends out so beautifully too. Super soft powder. I think these are such a great product. Alright, bronzer's done. I'm loving how the whole face is turning out. Everything is just blending smoothly and looking beautiful. I love mixing the two shades of that bronzer for a little bit of glow. And then next up, I also have the blush duo. This is the shade Soft Peach. Again, same formula as that. Super smooth and buttery and just so stunning. So here's the matte side and that's the shimmer side. Again, I like to mix these. I think they're just so beautiful together. My lips have been so dry ever since that Bite Beauty swatch video. If you guys haven't seen that, it's the lip crayon swatches. I'll link that as well. But man, they really need some help in the moisture department. So again, I'm just mixing these two. As someone with textured skin, my favorite thing about mixing these two is that the shimmer in these are really finely milled, and when you mix them, it gives you that glow without accentuating anything, which I feel like is very hard to find in a shimmery blush. Same with the bronzer, and I think it just like, doesn't that look so pretty? I'm obsessed with these. Okay, next for highlight, I have, this was actually like complimentary in my order. It was like a little set of these, the CoverFX Custom Enhancer Drops. This is the shade Celestial. I'm really scared to put this over powder. I'm not sure if you're supposed to. I haven't really figured out how I'm going to apply this yet. But it's this really super metallic, just like icy pink, which is like my favorite shade for highlight. I'm thinking I might use this on a sponge instead of applying it directly on the face because I feel like that might stick a little too much. I'm just dabbing my sponge into this. I'm going to try to apply it to the cheeks. Okay, that is actually working surprisingly well. It's not really picking up the powder or acting any sort of weird. Oh, that's actually so pretty. Product does dry really fast as well, so you have to work quickly. I would definitely recommend, what I did was put some on my hand, spread it out so it was even, and then get it evenly applied on my sponge. I feel like with liquid products, if you apply them directly, it sort of can get patchy, but when you already have an even layer, it's just gonna set you up for an even application, if that makes sense. Oh my gosh, Sam. I'm feeling this. You can also mix those in with your foundation, moisturizer, anything really that you want to. I've tried it with foundation. I think it's beautiful. Just have to use a little bit. All right, so here is how our base is looking. I absolutely love how everything looks. I'm like especially obsessed with how the cheeks look. Everything works together really beautifully. This is a matte foundation, but as you can tell, it's not super flat. It is a very skin-like finish, and I'm really excited to see and show you guys how this wears. But let's move on to the eyes. I don't have a brow product from them, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows really quickly off camera, and then we'll get started on the eyes. Okay, on to the eyes. I don't have any of their eyeshadows, but I am going to use this on my eyes, which I have done before and really enjoyed. And I'm going to actually start with the matte side of this bronzer as a transition shade. Just taking it on a fluffy brush and working it in. I'm going to show you guys how I do like my soft glam-ish everyday type of look. I've been wearing it in a lot of videos lately, and you guys have been wanting to see how I got it, so I thought I would show you today. Really easy and quick, and just looks nice. So what I've been using lately is the PYT Warm Palette. I've been absolutely in love with this. I don't know why I haven't tried this earlier. I just love the tones. You get such a nice array of like sort of these warmer neutrals, and I do think the metallics are really pretty as well. I'm going to start with this matte light brown and build up a little bit more of a transition shade in my crease, just to make everything look really soft. Once I have that laid down, I like to dip into this warmer brown, but it's not too deep. I just really love the hue of this. Hue, is that the right word? The tone. I just think it's so pretty. It's the perfect amount of warmth without being too sort of orangey. And then I just like to focus this in my crease. I really can't get enough of this highlight situation. I was kind of scared that liquid wouldn't apply well over powder, but it looks so pretty. And by the way, that liquid highlight, although it is super metallic, it's not glittery. So when you put it on your skin, it doesn't look like a super obvious highlight. All right, next up, sometimes I go in with this one. Sometimes I do the deep brown. I'm kind of feeling like a more pink look today. So I'm gonna use that middle shade, which is more on the pinkish red side. Then focusing this right on the outer half of my eye. I think these shadows just blend so nicely, and I've just been like so into the color palette in this. They're really nice. Really, really nice. I think they're relatively, I'm not sure the price of this. I think it's on the lower end, hopefully. Now that everything is blended out, I'm going back in with this shade, and I'm going to start on the lower lash line. And then taking this shade I used in my crease and putting that closer to the lash line, just smoking it out and connecting it to the outer edge. Now that everything's blended, I'm going into the Lawless Little One palette and taking this white shade to highlight my brow bone. Before I put that liquid highlight as a shadow, I'm taking the same shade and I'm sort of just going to blank out my lid, make it a little bit brighter, and then I'm gonna put the shimmer liquid on top, and I'm just patting this all over my lid. I think these are so pretty on the eyes, and they actually wore really well the last time I used it. And next for liner, I've been using this deep brown to do a just brown wing liner. You can do a black liner. Depends on the day which one I do. This is just a little bit softer. The next little trick I've been doing if I do a look like this is I just take a powder foundation. This is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro on a flat brush. And then I take it just right under the wing and drag it up. It cleans up your wing, and then it also cleans up the shadow under there and just makes it look like really, just makes the eyes look really cat-like, which I think is, you know, it's the goal here with this look. It really like lifts the eyes. And then the also cool thing about this is if you're not really good at wing liner or you make a mistake, it's okay because you can really, so easy to clean up with this. All right, cool. And next up, I'm going to try out the Fit Glow Beauty Mascara, which I've heard good things about. This was in this month's Petit Vour box, the full size, which I think is pretty cool. And the packaging's a little weird. I don't know why the handle's so short, but this has like the, I'm sure they're synthetic, but like the softer bristle type of wand. And the shape's really interesting, it like tapers in. I have tried this on once before and I wasn't really impressed with it, but we're gonna try it again today. Like initially, I think it is really pretty, but it doesn't give like a ton of length. So here's what one layer looks like. It's definitely not a bad mascara. I would say it's one of the better super clean mascaras that I've tried. It does give nice separation and volume and a little bit of length. It's not really clumpy. If you like a more natural look, I think you would like this, but for me, I'm just really picky with mascara. I like super dramatic lashes. So I'm gonna go in with my favorite at the moment, which is the Bare Minerals Lashtopia. All right, I got mascara like all over my face, but I'm gonna wait for that to dry until I remove it. What's next? The sun is actually out today. How amazing. What a day to be alive. For my lipstick today, I have the new Bare Minerals. These are called their Hydra Smoothing Lipsticks. I've been absolutely obsessed with this formula. This is the shade Insight. And it's funny because these look just like the Ilia Tinted Lip Conditioner packaging, and the formula also reminds me of them. It's like if the Ilia Tinted Lip Conditioner was just a lipstick, aka it had more pigment in it, it would be this. These are so smooth and comfortable on the lips. Very hydrating, as the name suggests. They go on so smooth. And like, I do have a big dry patch on my lip. It doesn't accentuate them. They're just so comfortable to wear if you have drier lips or you just like a more moisturizing lipstick. Definitely check these ones out. They're also vegan. They do have like a very fruity smell. I don't notice it that much, but if you're sensitive to like scented lip products, maybe stay away from these. Then I'm going to top it with the PYT Beauty Fulfilled Lip Gloss. Another product I've been really enjoying lately. This is the shade Influence, which is just this pinky nude. And I really like the mintiness of these. They have a little bit of stick to them, but they're still super smooth and creamy. I just really love the shade, the formula. Very pretty. Okay, so here's what our face looks like. What time it is? What time it is? It's 12:40. I will wear this until the end of the day. One thing I am noticing is there like creases around my smile line already. Just a little bit though. But everything else looks really pretty. And yeah, I will see you guys at my next check-in. Alright guys, so I brought you over to a window to show you what it looks like in natural light. I would love to film in natural light, but it's just, I'm blending myself. It's just not sunny enough. It's always cloudy. Like in the spring and summer, it's so sunny out, but rest of the year, it's very rainy, so it's hard for me to do. Maybe if I get a new setup, because I'm moving soon, I will try to do a natural light. I think it looks so nice. Anyway, here is my face. I love how everything looks. The only thing is just around my mouth. Can you even see that? It just is already sort of settling there. I don't think it looks too bad. I feel like if I just pat it in, and around my nose, it looks a little bit like the same thing, like it's just creasing. But other than that, I think the skin turned out beautifully. I will check in a little bit. See you then. I'm back for my final check-in. It is 8:41 now, so it's been a little... I actually think I started at 12:40. Yeah. So it's been 8 hours at this point. So let's analyze this face. So as you can tell, I did get oily just in my typical T-zone area. I don't think it was oilier than normal. And overall, I think it held up really well. It did wear off around my nose, but I was rubbing it, so like that happens with any foundation. And it did crease into my smile lines a little bit. I noticed that almost immediately. And then just around my nose is getting a little cakey, but actually not nearly as cakey as I get with most foundations in that area, so not too shabby. I think the chin area is actually looking really nice. Again, that's one of the areas I start to get really cakey or dry, or just like foundation breaks down because I have texture there. But it looks pretty smooth overall. All like sides of my face I think look really good. The blush and the bronzer and the highlight are all still there, along with the like highlight I put on my eyes. It did crease a little bit. I just have really oily eyelids, so I really expect that to happen with anything, but it held up actually really well. And I think like the cheek products are really definitely a hit. I think this foundation, although it's matte, it's not super matte. As you can tell, it didn't really control oil throughout the day. So if you're expecting it to do that, like it's not really going to do that. So if you do have more normal to drier skin, I think you could still make that work for you. And I think I've now kind of figured out my thoughts on this is that I don't love it under my eyes because it has that sheen to it. I think it accentuates fine lines and just like it just doesn't look as smooth as I've had my under eyes look with other powders, say the Ilia one, which just makes my under eyes look so smooth and airbrushed. This one kind of accentuates texture a little bit, But other than that, I think it's beautiful around the face. I don't really think it's oil controlling, but it does look really pretty on the skin. If you have a normal to drier skin and you want a nice powder, I think you would like this one. But if you have oily skin or textured, more mature skin, maybe skip out on this one. Overall, I did really enjoy everything that I tried. I think the foundation wore pretty well. It's not the best looking at the end of the day, but it's also not the worst. Kind of just, again, one of those foundations. It's nice. I'm not sure if you had really dry skin you would like this, because it is sort of that matte, just like sticks on your face type of foundation. Not really in a bad way, but it's just, I think, more for a normal to oilier skin type. That would be a nice foundation for you. Definitely recommend the blush. Definitely recommend the bronzer as well. You guys know the concealer is my favorite, and I'm just sort of about the powder. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up my final check-in. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did like watching it, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you. Almost at 10K, almost there. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Know in the comments below if you've tried anything from Cover FX, what your favorites are, or if you haven't, something you'd love to try, and let me know what you think of the products that I used today. And I'll see you guys in my next video.